People walked past him every day and never noticed. An old man sitting quietly on a worn wooden bench at the edge of the park, holding a thin leash, staring at nothing. No phone. No family around. Just silence. And a small dog curled up at his feet. Most people assumed the dog was just a pet, but they had no idea that this animal was the only reason this man was still alive. And what that dog did one cold evening shocked an entire city and changed everything. The old man's name was Walter. He was 78 years old and lived alone in a small apartment near the park. His wife had passed away years ago. His children had moved out of state and slowly stopped calling. Over time, friends disappeared too. Days blended together, quiet and heavy. The only sound that greeted him every morning was the soft breathing of his dog, Max. Max was not a special breed. No shiny fur, no fancy collar. Just a loyal, aging dog with tired eyes and a heart full of love. Every morning, Walter and Max followed the same routine. A slow walk to the park, sitting on the same bench, feeding pigeons, watching people pass by. Max stayed close, always alert, always watching Walter, like nothing else in the world mattered more. To Walter, Max wasn't just a dog. It was family, he was company. He was the reason Walter got out of bed. One evening, as winter started creeping in, Walter didn't feel well. His chest felt tight, his breathing shallow. He thought it was just exhaustion. He didn't want to worry anyone. So he sat down on the bench like always, holding Max's leash loosely. But this time, something was wrong. Walter's vision blurred. His hands started shaking. He tried to stand, but his legs failed him. He collapsed slowly onto the cold ground. People were around, but no one noticed at first. Headphones in, phones out. Life moving fast. Walter lay there, struggling to breathe, unable to call for help. But Max noticed instantly. His ears shot up, his body stiffened. He nudged Walter with his nose. No response. Panic filled the dog's eyes. Max did something no one expected. He started barking, lewd and disparate. Not playful barking, but sharp, warning cries. People glanced over, annoyed, then kept walking. Max tugged at the leash until it slipped from Walter's weak hand. Then he ran straight toward the path, blocking joggers, jumping in front of bicycles, barking louder than ever. At one point, Max grabbed the leg of a passing man's jacket, pulling hard. The man turned angry at first, until he followed the dog's gaze. He saw Walter lying on the ground, barely moving. Everything changed in seconds. Someone called emergency services. Another person knelt beside Walter. Max ran back to his owner, standing protectively between Walter and the crowd, barking until help arrived. Paramedics later said that if help had come even a few minutes later, Walter would not have survived. He had suffered a severe heart episode. Max's behavior saved his life. At the hospital, doctors worked quickly. Walter survived. When he finally opened his eyes, the first thing he whispered was Max's name. Nurses smiled as Max was brought into the room, his tail wagging so hard it shook his whole body. Walter cried. Not loud tears. Quiet ones. The kind that come from realizing you're still alive because someone refused to give up on you. News of the incident spread quickly. Local stations covered it. Social media shared Max's story. People who once walked past Walter without a glance now stopped to talk. Strangers sent letters. Someone even offered to help cover medical bills. For the first time in years, Walter didn't feel invisible. But what truly mattered wasn't the attention. It was the bond. Walter realized something deeply powerful. In a world that had moved on without him, a dog stayed. When everyone else was distracted, Max paid attention. When Walter couldn't speak, Max spoke for him. As weeks passed, Walter recovered slowly. Max never left his side. Walks became shorter, but they still went to the park. Same bench, same routine. Only now, people smiled. Kids waved. Someone always asked, "Is that the hero dog?" Max would just sit calmly, leaning against Walter's leg. Stories like this remind us that loyalty doesn't need words. Love doesn't need attention. And sometimes, the smallest soul carries the biggest courage.